Well, there's always a lot going on with Orphans Aid International, and Sue Van Schraven is back from India. After opening a school, she joins me in the studio now. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Luke.
What's your mandate? What are you all about?
Right, well, we're about caring for the child who has nobody, in particular, obviously, the orphan and those in desperate need. So we're really rescuing children who are in absolute poverty and have nobody else to care for them, giving them hope, and also looking for ways to prevent children from being abandoned as well. Why has a child become an orphan? Why has a child been left at the institution? So, yeah, the whole package of how we can rescue this child from being forgotten.
It's hard for us in the Western world, I think, to get our heads around the numbers. When we're talking about orphans, how many kids are we talking about internationally?
Well, really good question. And there's been a lot of talk about this, how you define an orphan. And you probably, if you've seen any of our materials, you would have seen 150 million orphans is one of the figures that is used a lot. But I have just read this last week, actually, another figure of 17.8 million children that have lost both parents. So those that are officially an orphan. So it depends how you define the word. But of course, there's a lot of children that just maybe they've got a mum and a dad, but maybe they're in prison, or maybe they're just children themselves, so they're incapable. Yeah, so it can become easy to be overwhelmed by the numbers, but when you start to see the individual children and you see the change coming in their lives, it's actually, we can do this. We can bring change to these kids.
And that's how you change the world, isn't it? You do it one life at a time, and that's what you guys are all about. How many countries and what countries are you working in currently?
Wow, good question. So we started in Romania, and Russia was our second country, and we're also involved in India, Nepal, and more recently Uganda. Love what we're doing in Uganda, where we're working to keep children with their families, so keep them out of those institutions. How can we help mum and dad, or mum usually, to care for their family, to care for their children, so that they don't feel they have to put them somewhere just to get them fed. And if they're sick, how can they care for that child? So it's how to keep families strengthened and how to stop children from becoming orphans in the first place.
And how do you do that? I mean, obviously it's a complex thing.
Very true. It is complex, and every country is so different. So it's actually having a look, what are the issues behind this situation? Is it AIDS? Is it a child that's having a child? Is it a young teenager having a child? What are the factors that have made these children be abandoned in the first place? And then beginning to address those. And in some places we're probably more like the, what do they call it, the fence at the top of the cliff, and other places we're more like the ambulance at the bottom. But in whatever way we can address it and help with it, it's really important to do so. So yeah, each country is very different, and the reasonings behind it's very different, and each culture is very different. But we've got fantastic people on the ground who really love these kids and will go out of their way, make huge sacrifices to put clothes on their back, put food in their tummies. And so we're really working within the legal system and the culture of each country.